Okay, let's see how to do these problems and why it's important to identify the terms. So the first step is to identify the terms. Terms are separated by addition or subtraction. It's not in a grouping symbol. Everything in between those arrows is a term. Now the reason that's important is that we want to simplify each of the terms first. So 5x, that term is simplified. 7x times negative 5. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. X times 3x. Since I have x times x in that term, that's 3x squared. Now I still have 3 terms. 2 of those terms are like terms. And because this is x squared, it's not a like term. So the next step, I'm going to combine the ones that are like terms. So 5x and a negative 35x, that difference is negative 30x plus 3x squared. Since those are not like terms, that's as far as I can go, and that becomes my answer for being simplified. Now I need to verify that answer. I'm going to let x equal 4. So going back to the original expression, and I'm going to do that all in one step on the calculator. That result is negative 72. It's important, even if you get answers that don't match, that you write all of that down so that I can give you credit for the work that you've done that is correct. If you erase it all and just say it did not work, then I can't give you any credit for the work that you did, because I won't be able to see your calculator later on. So the result was negative 30x, so negative 30 times 4. 3 times x squared, so 3 times 4 is squared. And again, I'll do that in my calculator all in one step. Negative 72. Great. That means my answer here checks. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is even more challenging. So we'll clear this. Wait a minute. So it's 4x times 2x plus 4x times 3 minus 6 times 2x squared. Now you might be tempted to maybe add this 2x and 4x, or take this 3 and subtract 6. But remember, our first step is to find the terms in this expression. And terms are separated by addition and subtraction. So that makes this all one term, this all one term, and this all one term. And that tells us what we have to start to simplify. So our first step is to multiply 4x times 2x. 4 times 2 is 8. I've got x times x, so that's x squared. 4x times 3 is 12x. 6 times 2x squared is 12x squared. Now I still have 3 terms. This term and this term are like terms, and this term is different. So I want to combine the like terms. Notice there's a subtraction here, which really means that we're adding a negative 12 to 8. So 8x squared plus negative 12x squared is a difference of negative 4x squared plus 12x. Those are not like terms, so that's as far as I can go, and that's the answer. One more step to go, though, and that's to verify that our answer works. So I'm going to let x equal 5. If you're wondering how I pick my numbers, when I see a lot of 4s and 2s and 3s up here, I try and pick a number that's different so that it doesn't get too confusing. So in the original expression, and I'll do that in the calculator. I did that correctly. All of that, it gives me 40, negative 40. And then in the final answer, which is much simplified. And the answer is negative 40, so it checks. And I know that answer is correct. All right, let's go on to the next problem. And first we'll indicate the terms separated by subtraction and addition. And so 3p is a term, 4k is a term, 5 is a term, and 3p is a term. Now our first step has been to simplify the terms, but each one of these terms already is simplified. So the terms that are like terms are the 3p and the minus 3p. Well, we know when we're working with 3p minus 3p that those just go to 0, and so my final answer is a negative 4k, don't lose this negative sign here, plus 5. All right, now let's see if that worked. Because I have 3 variables, I'm going to have to pick 3 numbers. Remember not to pick 0, 1, or 2. So I'm going to pick P is 6 and K is 7. I guess I just have 2 variables there. So in the original expression, I get negative 23. Now some people might wonder why I would want to check something that seems so easy to do. There was just one easy step. But a lot of students are going to skip or miss that negative sign. And if you check your answer, you should be able to see that that is not working. So we'll try this one. And that's also negative 23. So we did not make any mistakes on this one. It is important that you understand that this is where your answer is when they said to simplify the expression, that this is just the step that tells me whether or not I did it correct. Now it's possible, and I'll have to admit on my first one I actually did make a mistake and had to go back and start the video over again, that sometimes when you try and find out is it correct, what you find out is that you've made a mistake and have to go back and fix it. Now there's 2 places you can make a mistake, possibly in entering these expressions in your calculator, or you can make a mistake in doing the algebra, particularly losing a positive or a negative sign up here. All right, now we'll do the last one. And first we will identify the terms separated by subtraction or addition, but not inside a grouping symbol. So all of this is one term, 12m is one term, and 6 times negative 5 is one term. And then we want to simplify those terms. Now in this first term, I know many students are tempted to distribute here. But remember, we distribute multiplication over addition or subtraction. That's not addition in there. So the first thing you want to do is just write what's inside this parentheses in a simpler form, which is just negative 4m. Then go ahead and multiply this term out. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12m. This term is already simplified. And the last term, 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. Now if we're looking for like terms, I have 12m minus 12m, which goes to 0. And we're left with just negative 30. So let's pick a value for m. Let m equal 8. So the original expression started out looking like this. Try and make it look as close as possible to the original expression. Sometimes, like for 12m, you'll have to put 12 times 8. But when I'm doing this, I will try and keep the parentheses there instead of using the star for multiplication. All All right, so let's work that out on the calculator. And the result's negative 30, which is good because that's what I was hoping up above, is that I would get a result of negative 30. Since I know that's what the other side is, we have that this answer does check. All right, we have finished this video and it's time to go back to the rest of the lesson.